Today, we are looking at CompTIA Data Plus, often shortened simply to Data Plus. This certification is built for people who need to work with data, understand what it is telling them, and communicate useful findings to the business. It is not meant to turn you into a full data scientist overnight. It is also not just a spreadsheet credential or a chart-making credential. It sits in a practical middle ground where IT, cybersecurity, operations, governance, compliance, and business professionals increasingly need to understand data well enough to make better decisions. This episode is part of the Monday Certified feature from Bare Metal Cyber Magazine, where we break down certifications in plain English and connect them to realistic career paths.
If this certification is on your study list, a free and complete audio course is available in the Bare Metal Cyber Academy at baremetalcyber.com, complete with a study guide and a second ebook featuring 1,000 flashcard questions.
Data Plus matters because almost every modern technical role now touches data in some way. A security analyst may work with alerts, logs, vulnerability counts, incident trends, and control evidence. An IT support professional may track tickets, response times, service levels, and recurring issues. A governance or compliance analyst may need to understand audit evidence, policy exceptions, risk ratings, and reporting dashboards. Even people who do not have data analyst in their job title are often expected to ask useful questions, spot patterns, recognize bad data, and explain what the numbers actually mean. That is the space this certification is trying to serve.
The credential is issued by CompTIA, one of the best-known vendor-neutral certification organizations in the technology field. Many early career professionals first encounter CompTIA through A+, Network Plus, Security Plus, Linux Plus, Cloud Plus, or CISA Plus. Data Plus fits into that same ecosystem, but it focuses on analytics fundamentals rather than infrastructure, support, or security alone. The advantage of that vendor-neutral approach is that the certification does not lock the learner into one specific database product, dashboard platform, cloud provider, or programming language. Instead, it focuses on ideas that carry across tools.
This certification is best understood as an early career data analytics credential, but early career does not mean effortless. The exam assumes that you can think through data problems in context. It is especially useful for junior data analysts, reporting analysts, business analysts, operations analysts, IT professionals who work with metrics, and cyber professionals who want to make better use of logs, dashboards, and reports. It can also help managers and technical generalists who do not want to become data scientists, but do want to become more confident when discussing data quality, trends, evidence, and reporting.
A good way to understand Data Plus is to think about the questions it helps you answer. Where did this data come from? Can we trust it? What needs to be cleaned before we analyze it? Is this chart explaining the point, or is it making the result more confusing? What does the trend suggest, and what are the limits of that conclusion? Is sensitive data being handled appropriately? Those questions may sound basic, but they are the foundation of responsible data work. Many bad business decisions begin with data that was misunderstood, misused, poorly cleaned, poorly visualized, or trusted too quickly.
CompTIA keeps the credential aligned through exam objectives and updated versions. The current version is Data Plus version 2, using exam code DA002. This version reflects the way data work has expanded beyond static spreadsheets and simple reports. Modern data work may involve cloud systems, business intelligence tools, dashboards, API connections, databases, automated workflows, and some awareness of AI concepts. The exam does not expect you to master all of those areas as a specialist. It does expect you to understand enough of the environment to reason about data from collection through decision-making. The exam is organized around several major areas. It covers data concepts and environments, data acquisition and preparation, data analysis, visualization and reporting, and data governance. In plain English, that means the exam starts by asking whether you understand what data is, where it lives, what form it takes, and how different systems and structures affect it. Then it moves into how data is collected, inspected, cleaned, transformed, analyzed, visualized, reported, protected, and managed over time. That life cycle view is one of the most useful parts of the certification.
The preparation and cleaning side is especially important because real data is rarely perfect. It may be incomplete, duplicated, inconsistent, outdated, mislabeled, poorly formatted, or scattered across systems that were never designed to work together. A strong candidate needs to understand missing values, outliers, duplicates, normalization, transformation, parsing, joining data, and checking whether the final dataset is fit for use. This is not always the exciting part of analytics, but it is often the part that determines whether the final answer is trustworthy.
The analysis portion of the exam rewards practical judgment. You should understand descriptive statistics, trends, comparisons, basic relationships, and common analytical errors. The certification is not trying to make you a statistician, but it does expect you to recognize when a result is meaningful, when it may be misleading, and when more context is needed. It also expects you to think about the business question behind the analysis. A technically correct calculation is not very helpful if it does not answer the question the organization actually asked.
Visualization and reporting are another major part of the credential. Charts and dashboards are not decoration, they are communication tools. A bar chart, line chart, scatter plot, table, map, or dashboard should fit the data, the audience, and the decision being supported. A poor visualization can exaggerate a trend, hide an important exception, or give leaders a false sense of certainty. Data Plus asks you to think about which visual format makes sense, how to avoid misleading presentation, and how to explain results clearly to people who may not be data specialists. Governance is where this certification becomes especially relevant to cybersecurity, audit, risk, and compliance professionals. Data has to be managed responsibly. That includes access control, retention, quality checks, documentation, lineage, privacy, masking, encryption, monitoring, and auditability. A common misconception is that Data Plus is only about charts, formulas, and dashboards. It is really about the responsible use of data, from collection to decision. That includes knowing when data is sensitive, when it may be incomplete, when it needs protection, and when a conclusion should be treated with caution.
The exam itself typically includes up to 90 questions, a 90-minute time limit, multiple choice questions, and performance-based questions. The passing score is commonly listed as 675 on a scale from 100 to 900. Performance-based questions matter because they can test applied understanding instead of simple definition recall. You may need to interpret a scenario, select a suitable method, identify a data quality issue, choose a visualization, or apply a governance concept to a practical situation. The best way to prepare is to begin with the exam objectives and turn them into a personal checklist. For each topic, ask yourself 3 questions. Can I explain it in plain English? Can I recognize it in a scenario? Can I apply it to a simple business problem? That approach is much stronger than memorizing isolated terms. The exam is likely to reward candidates who understand how the pieces fit together. It is not enough to know that a missing value exists. You need to understand why it matters, what it might do to the analysis, and what options are available for handling it. Hands-on practice is valuable, even if you do not build a complex lab. Take a small data set and work with it. Inspect the columns. Look for missing values. Sort and filter the records. Create a simple summary. Build a basic chart. Then ask whether the chart actually answers the question. Try changing the chart type and notice how the story changes. This kind of practice helps the exam feel less abstract, and it also builds the confidence you need for real work. Data concepts become much easier to remember when you have seen them in action. A steady study plan works better than cramming. Start with data types, structures, sources, databases, and common tool categories. Then move into acquisition and preparation, including data cleaning, profiling, transformation, duplicates, and outliers. After that,
Spend time on analysis concepts, visualization choices, reporting design, and governance. When you begin using practice questions, do not simply count right and wrong answers. Study your misses. Ask why the correct answer is stronger and why the other options are weaker. That habit builds the judgment the exam is trying to measure.
For busy learners, the Bare Metal Cyber Academy resources can fit naturally into this process. The free audio course can help you preview ideas and reinforce vocabulary during commutes, walks, or short study windows. The study guide can provide the structured reading path when you need deeper explanation. The flashcards ebook can support repeated review of definitions, comparisons, governance terms, analytical concepts, and visualization choices. Used together, those resources give you several ways to return to the material without making study feel like a single long reading assignment.
Data Plus can support several career paths, especially roles where practical data literacy matters. It can help junior data analysts, business analysts, reporting specialists, operations analysts, IT service management professionals, governance analysts, compliance professionals, and cybersecurity analysts. In security operations, for example, professionals often need to understand alert volumes, incident trends, vulnerability data, control performance, and executive metrics. A person who can explain that information clearly can become more valuable than someone who only exports a report and passes it along.
Hiring managers are likely to view this credential as a sign of structured preparation and serious interest in data work. It does not replace experience with spreadsheets, SQL, business intelligence tools, scripting, cloud platforms, or real reporting projects. It does, however, help a candidate tell a clearer story. It says that you understand the analytics lifecycle, that you can think about data quality, that you recognize governance concerns, and that you can communicate findings in a business context. For an early career professional, that story can be useful.
This certification also fits well as part of a broader path. Someone may earn it after building general technical knowledge, then move towards cybersecurity, cloud, business intelligence, database administration, governance, or more advanced analytics. It can pair naturally with Security Plus for people moving into cyber roles, with Network Plus or Cloud Plus for technical infrastructure paths, or with more specialized data and cloud credentials later. It may not be the right first choice for everyone. A person focused purely on entry-level cybersecurity may start with Security Plus. A person focused on networking may choose Network Plus or CCNA. A person aiming at advanced data science will eventually need deeper statistics, programming, machine learning, and a portfolio.
The real value of Data Plus is that it helps bridge technical work and business decision-making. Organizations do not simply need more dashboards. They need people who can tell whether the dashboard is accurate, whether the data behind it is trustworthy, whether the visual is fair, and whether the conclusion is useful. That bridge is increasingly important in cybersecurity, IT, governance, audit, operations, and management. Data is everywhere, but useful interpretation is still a human skill.
For early career professionals and career changers, Data Plus can provide structure, vocabulary, and confidence. It gives you a way to study the data lifecycle without jumping immediately into advanced data science. It helps you understand how information becomes evidence, how evidence becomes insight, and how insight can support better decisions. If your role already touches reports, dashboards, metrics, security data, operational data, or compliance evidence, this certification can help you become more effective with the information already in front of you.
Thanks for listening. For more audio courses, daily newsletters, and more, please visit baremetalcyber.com.